Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Please be seated. And I trust that while you've been waiting for us, you've had a chance to read our acknowledgement to our friends and neighbors in the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. Just before we begin this evening, I've got a couple of announcements. And first, it is with great pleasure that I'd like to recognize on behalf of Council and celebrate the 75th anniversary of our 525 Pathfinder Royal Canadian Air Cadet Squadron. And we're fortunate to have some of the members of the squadron, maybe you'd stand up for a moment, with us this evening. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Since its founding in 1950, and thanks to the vision, please feel free to be seated. Thank you. They're so polite. Thanks to the vision and dedication of the community leaders, Dave Brown and Norm Scott, the 525 Squadron has played an important role in the shaping of generations of young people in West Vancouver. What began with just 25 cadets has grown into a proud legacy of leadership, citizenship, discipline, and service. For 75 years, this squadron has provided young people with opportunities to learn, grow, and challenge themselves. Countless cadets have developed valuable skills, forged lifelong friendships, and gone on to make meaningful contributions to the community, to the Canadian Air Force and beyond. This milestone is a testament not only to the cadets, but also to the dedicated officers, civilian instructors, volunteers, and sponsoring committees, families, community partners, and all of these who have helped the squadron throughout its history. So on behalf of our community, I extend our heartfelt congratulations to everyone who has been part of the 525 Pathfinder Squadron. And I hope you take great pride, as we do, in your remarkable accomplishments and continue to inspire future generations for years to come. Thank you again. Thank you. And I'd also tonight like to recognize members of the West Vancouver Football Club who are with us, I hope. Maybe just stand up quickly and say hello. All of these dedicated individuals have worked incredibly hard to provide our community with what will soon be an outstanding new facility, a enclosed football dome right below the Place for Sport. And this was made possible thanks to their incredible efforts, but also thanks to the incredible generosity of Mr. Paul and the Paul Foundation. This generous West Vancouver resident contributed $3 million to provide this facility for our community. It is under construction now, and through the course of the construction, things have gone a little bit more expensive than anticipated. And Council tonight unanimously has voted to allocate $300,000 to assist the club out of monies left over from our Place for Sport. As you may know, we completed that project $1.5 million under budget, and we thought it was an appropriate use of the funds and to pay great respect to Paul Meyer and his contributions. So to you, thank you very much. I would also, on a somewhat more somber note, ask everyone to please pay attention to your consumption of water. As you know, we are on stage 3 water restrictions right now. In Metro Vancouver, we consume 1.1 billion liters of water a day. By the way, some of the best water in the world. That's our winter consumption. In the summer, it goes up as high as 1.5 billion. Right now, we're running at about 1.4 billion liters a day. We need to get that down to 1.1 billion liters of water a day. So I would ask everyone, please think about turning the tap off a little early, take a little shorter shower, find ways to help with this really important water consumption issue. Our snowpack is essentially gone, and we all need to do our part. And just while I'm talking about Metro, there's been a lot of discussion, of course, in our community about the North Shore wastewater treatment plant. I found that there seems to be a fair amount of misinformation that is circulated, and I appreciate that there are those who like to criticize and find fault. Rather than doing that, I've invited Metro, the CAO, and the lead people to join us at our next council meeting. And there will be an extensive presentation of the project, its history, and the steps we've taken to ensure that the mistake that was made in 2013 is never repeated, and that the project is completed properly and on budget. So if you're interested in that subject, it will be an extended presentation at our next council meeting. So with that, I'll call the meeting formally to order and ask for a motion to please approve the agenda. Councillor Snyder.
Yes, I'd like to recommend that the June 8th, 2026 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Question, all in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Thank you. Item number 3, we have the opportunity for a wonderful presentation from the North Shore Community Resources regarding the North Shore Youth Civic Forum Cohort 5. So who is going to join us this evening? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Good evening and thank you. My name is John Holden and I'm a resident, homeowner, and individual age 35 and below in West Vancouver. Now, why does my age matter? Well, my age matters today and most days because I am here to represent the North Shore Youth Civic Forum. And this forum is essentially a group of individuals from across the North Shore that are trying to show that individuals under the age of 35 want to be involved with their local governments. They want to support their community and they want to do their best to not only lift up themselves, but lift up the citizens that they share their cities with. And what I'm here today is to just show a very simple proposal, which will hopefully show you that we can provide easy and fun ideas that help to uplift our community. Essentially with this group, what we did is we met with different individuals from across the North Shore. So we met with individuals from the district of North Vancouver, we met with individuals from the city of North Vancouver, and then we met with some of the individuals in this room today. And when meeting with these individuals, we wanted to put forward ideas and ways to support our community. And my group, who I am happy to represent, came up with the idea of supporting and essentially battling what is social isolation in elderly individuals. As is no surprise to anyone here today, the District of West Vancouver has a large population of individuals that are over the age of 55 and an even larger population over the age of 65. And to be fair, that population is extremely fortunate. When you compare this population to other communities, there are a lot more resources that exist within the District of West Vancouver. Just a few streets away, we have the Senior Activity Center. There are also plenty of community spaces which they can access. However, what we found in our research and meeting with different organizations was there could be additional benefit when it came to providing additional awareness of these resources. And that's essentially where our proposal comes into play. Essentially, we knew that as younger individuals that we would maybe have the ability, the access, and frankly, the time to create essentially resources that other individuals in the community could leverage. So what we essentially are proposing is creating a completely digital campaign that would leverage the community members that we have today and leverage individuals such as yourself. So what we did is we found 21 organizations across the community who would potentially be interested in taking part in this digital campaign. We essentially created an email, which what I'm hoping is the individuals in this room would be willing to support, maybe provide comments to, just providing additional insights into the benefit of the activities and the resources that senior individuals have. And with that email, we're essentially going to partner with these organizations. They will distribute it to their mailing list. And if they don't feel comfortable providing it to their mailing list, we also will create other digital resources such as things that can support on social media, things they can print off and put on a bulletin board, anything of that sort. Essentially, we're not asking for much because we knew that these organizations are busy. We knew that individuals such as yourself are busy. We just wanted to create a resource that would not only leverage what already exists, which is our great senior activity center, the bus that provides individuals the ability to go there, and all the resources that do exist to solve many of the problems that face our elderly citizens here, including social isolation. So essentially, all we're asking for, and all my group is asking for, is 15 minutes of one of your individuals' time, maybe in a few weeks, just to get a few comments on the great resources that exist within our community so that we can include that into the newsletter and potentially showcase all the great things that the District of West Vancouver has to offer. Thank you.
Thanks. I suspect every one of us is going to volunteer for that. We might do it together.
That'd be perfect.
Here we are. That's it?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
Wow. Okay. Well, that is a very interesting topic. And
It's a great idea.
yes, I'm just still kind of reeling from looking at all of the detail. But why not? So thank you. I will recommend that the delegation from North Shore Community Resources regarding North Shore Young Civic Forum Cohort 5.0 presentation to council be received for information with thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Watt, please.
Second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Call a question. All in favor? Contrary carried, and get in touch. We'll organize as you've requested.
Perfect.
Thank
so
you.
much.
I'd now like to welcome three people from TransLink who are going to make a presentation about the upcoming BRT. And I'll start. I recognize Sarah Ross, who's joining us, and I also recognize Aaron Leung and Fergal King. Got it. Great to see you, Sarah.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having us. I'm Sarah Ross. I'm the Vice President of Planning at TransLink. And I'm really pleased to be here today to provide a brief update on the work we're doing on the Metrotown to North Shore Bus Rapid Transit project. May I ask about the slides?
Yes. Pascal
As
will
I
help you
launch
out there.
in. Aaron is going to help me with the
There you go.
slides for the best.
He does the
So-
public relations side.
Yeah,
It's
that's right.
natural.
So first, I'm just going to start by giving an update on the R2 Rapid Bus Extension, which will mark the first phase of delivering better transit across this corridor. And then as well as over the last year, we've also advanced significant work on bus rapid transit, which includes in-depth public engagement as well as design in partnership with 5 municipalities, the Ministry of Transportation and Transit, and 3 First Nations. So known as the R2 Marine Willingdon Rapid Bus, the existing R2 Rapid Bus, so that's the green buses that you see with the special green bus stops, that will be extended from its current terminus at Phibbs Exchange. It starts at Park Royal, currently terminates at Phibbs Exchange, and it will be extended to go all the way to Metrotown. This is going to happen 3 months ahead of schedule and will launch on September 7th of this year. And so for the first time, there will be what we call a 1-seat ride that connects Park Royal all the way to Brentwood, BCIT, and Metrotown. And currently, the existing R2 service runs every 10 minutes in the peak. With the launch of this extension, we're increasing that, so it will run every 6 to 7 minutes during peak time. So this is very frequent and convenient for people. I want to thank District of West Vancouver staff and staff at Park Royal for their dedication to this project and for helping us expedite the work around the mall in order for us to accelerate our in-service date. Now, as part of the planning for the BRT work, we undertook public engagement on service features, design priorities, and on the routing. Now, through this process, we received over 12,000 survey responses driven by notification across digital platforms, in person, and direct mail. By survey responses, this is one of TransLink's largest public engagements ever. We heard from residents living across the corridor about how they want this project to improve transportation in their communities. 89% of the 12,000 people that responded come from one of the 5 municipalities. 36%, so over 3,000 respondents, were from the North Shore, with 334 respondents from West Vancouver. 6 core themes emerged from this public engagement. First, there is a high level of support for the BRT project. 80% of respondents expect transportation in this corridor to improve if the project were built. People want faster, more frequent, and more reliable transit across the corridor. We all know the challenges of congestion on the North Shore, and respondents want a service that is an alternative to being stuck in traffic. Specifically for North Shore residents, they want a service that improves connectivity on the North Shore, in addition to connecting them to the rest of the region. When asked about technical design priorities and how to balance existing vehicle access and improving transit priority, respondents generally support shifting towards new transit priority measures. 90% of respondents want stations to have weather protection and better lighting. And I'll just touch on, when it comes to route options in Vancouver and Burnaby, opinions are mixed. And the feedback from the public here is nuanced, and therefore we will be working through additional design options and deferring the decision on route options through Burnaby to 2027. So building off the R2 extension, work continues on upgrading this route to a full bus rapid transit service. Initial ridership projections show that the Metrotown to North Shore BRT could have up to 60,000 average daily boardings, which would make it one of the most used bus routes in the region. And now, while the R2 with its extension will deliver better connections and frequency improvements, a full bus rapid transit would deliver improvements to speed and reliability via dedicated bus infrastructure. And this can give people an alternative to sitting in traffic. Throughout the corridor, there are many major employers like Seaspan and the Port, and the BRT will provide access to those jobs. And all of this contributes to transit being economic infrastructure and unlocking access to economic opportunity. Now, all projects go through different project development phases. The first phase, the 5% design, confirmed the route alignment and stop locations. All the existing stop locations for the R2 on the North Shore will be the same for the BRT. Now, the Metrotown to North Shore BRT project is advancing towards completion of 10% design. We're working with municipal, ministry, and Indigenous partners to secure support for significant new bus priority along the corridor. And over the next year, we'll continue to refine the lane configuration options toward a single preferred end-to-end design. Couple of images for you. Where there are fewer constraints, we are investigating design options where center running BRT may be feasible. This comes with benefits where it's less affected by vehicle traffic. It's avoiding conflicts with right turning vehicles. But side running BRT also has benefits. It can also significantly improve reliable travel times. And sometimes can be easier to fit in with existing streets. The choices we make around the extent of bus priority and the lane configuration options to support that are partially informed by performance assessments. So preliminary analysis and modeling have indicated that the project could deliver dedicated transit lanes on between 50 to 75% of the corridor, which would represent a significant increase compared to today. And with that level of bus priority, we can deliver a service that can run over 30% faster than local bus service and produce transit travel times that rival driving times, depending on the degree of congestion and the time of day. And we know that there are pressing needs on the North Shore, which is why we are delivering service improvements this year, while we continue to refine potential BRT design options. So we are delivering results for the North Shore today or on September 7th by extending that rapid bus. And then as we'll continue to work to make that service better by providing the infrastructure to support a service that really could be an alternative to even more so to being stuck in congestion and provide more consistent travel times throughout areas of high delay. BRT is also a flexible technology, so we can add additional transit priority over time as the surrounding local context changes, and that can improve performance and reliability of the service even further. So just to wrap up, 10% design will be complete this summer, 30% design and refining our BRT design will take about a year to complete, and we anticipate returning to council in 2027. Thank you very much for your time.
Ms. Ross, thanks very much. And it is certainly a pleasure having the opportunity to work with you on this. Are there any members of council with any questions? This is an ongoing process. So Councillor Watt.
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. So if this was to be run down the center, and I know you're still in the early phases of design, is that potentially a precursor for, I don't know how long down the road, 10 years, 15, to light rail?
BRT can be a precursor to a different form of transit technology, regardless of whether it's in the center or on the side. Our approach in this region is almost always been to, first you start with a local bus that stops every stop, then you upgrade that to a limited stop service. Then you get some transit priority, you keep building ridership, the corridor evolves. And over time, we've seen lots of corridors where that's evolved to higher order bus service and then onto rail service.
Yeah, so laying the infrastructure now for this makes it easier down the road. Should you consider moving to light rail? Am I correct?
I would not characterize it that way necessarily. Okay. But it can be building the corridor and creating the transit support. And as you get more right of way, you have more options for the long-term future.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You'll also find out how successful this route is, which could be a precursor. Councillor Gambiol.
I just wanted to say I'm looking forward to putting my daughter on the bus at Park Royal so she can do her Christmas shopping at Metrotown this year. And I don't have to drive her in like dark, rainy November to Metrotown. So that's really exciting. And that's the first step. And I'm really looking forward to explaining this to the public, especially since there's an election coming up and transportation is one of the top issues, for us. So we have to nicely explain that the way to solve the problem is to get on the bus.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, could I ask for a motion to receive and thank our guests?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you. It's recommended that the presentation from TransLink regarding bus rapid transit update be received from information with thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Snyder. Seconded. Discussion, all in favor, contrary carried. Thanks again for coming out tonight.
Thank you.
Good to see you. And now we'll turn item number 5 over to our municipal manager, who will outline a lot of work that's been done on our strategic plan, and also to introduce Kevin Ramsey, who is with us this evening. This good gentleman who is joining us has 34 years in local government experience with a background in engineering. And he and his colleague James Ridge were retained by our municipal manager to work on, well, I'll let you run this one.
You're stealing my thunder, yes.
I am. I better not do that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. So I don't have a presentation. Mr. Ramsey does have a presentation that'll follow what I have to say. I will, however, give a brief introduction in companion to the report that's already been submitted and that you've already viewed. So this is a full evening with a dozen presentations, and therefore I will try to be concise in the following report that provides an update on Council's 2024 to 2026 strategic plan, along with a summary of the recent work completed by an independent professional consultant, the Innova Strategy Group, and on an organizational efficiency, capacity, and structure. This report is intended to do two things. First, to give you a clear sense of the status of the strategic plan, and second, to introduce the findings and early implementation of the Innova Strategy Group organizational review. The report and the appendices were provided previously sent to you and uploaded to the website, so I do not intend to get granular on the goals, but I do have the leadership team here in attendance that can answer any questions about various objectives and deliverables you wish to talk about. As council knows, the strategic plan is designed as a living document. It reflects both the continuation of previous priorities and new objectives aligned with council's current goals. A fresh strategic plan is scheduled for creation after the election. The current plan is structured around 6 key focus areas: environment and climate change, housing, local economy, mobility, municipal services, and social well-being. Within those 6 areas, there are 47 objectives and 91 individual deliverables, all intended to be concrete and measurable. From a progress standpoint, the overall results show about 72% of deliverables are already complete or complete and ongoing. 21% are in progress, and only 7% are currently paused. In addition, the supporting progress report, Appendix B, highlights more than 180 completed actions across the organization. Those actions span everything from climate initiatives and housing policy work to infrastructure, community amenities, and service improvements. Some of the larger accomplishments include major permanent parkland expansion, completion of the Ambleside Waterfront Acquisition Plan, and advancement of Cypress Village. The Innova Strategy Group described Council Strategic Plan as well-designed with clear priorities and measurable initiatives that are appropriate for the community that is actively driving a significant volume of tangible work across the district. Both appendices and additional information on the strategic plan can be assessed or accessed online at the district website. As part of Council Strategic Plan Objective 5.1, to review current services and staffing levels to ensure district services are appropriate, effective, and efficient, the district retained a professional independent consultant to conduct a comprehensive organizational review to examine how we are structured, how we deliver services, and how well we are positioned for future demands. This was an important action to take and one which hadn't been done in West Vancouver for over 2 decades. One of the strengths of this review is that it comes with a clear, prioritized recommendations within an implementation plan, and work is already underway. Since receiving the report earlier this year, initial restructuring and efficiency measures have been implemented, resulting in approximately 1.4 in ongoing budget reductions.
1.4 million.
1.4 million, thank you. Implementation has been assigned across senior leadership team, and this work will continue over time. Given the scope of the recommendations, some elements will extend into next council's term. The full Innova report contains confidential strategic advice and is therefore not publicly released under FOIPA provisions. However, a detailed executive summary has been made available to ensure the public has a clear understanding of the findings and direction. In addition, the consultant is in attendance and will provide a presentation. Going forward, staff will provide or will report back to council on a biannual basis, including progress on implementation, measurable outcomes and improvements, financial impacts, and any risks or adjustments that need to be considered. In conclusion, the strategic plan is being delivered with strong progress across all 6 priority areas. At the same time, the organizational review provides a strategic and practical roadmap to strengthen the organization, ensuring that we continue to deliver high-quality services in an efficient and sustainable way. I'd like to now introduce Mr. Kevin Ramsey, founder of the Innova Strategy Group, and invite him to the podium to provide a concise presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Ramsey, great to see you. Just for the benefit of everyone who is here this evening, members of council have had a very, very in-depth presentation from Mr. Ramsey and his partner. This is intended tonight just to ensure that the public understand the steps that we are taking and it will have to be briefer. Mr. Ramsey, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Finley and council. It is truly a pleasure to be here as we get this set up. I've just got a few brief slides here. Just by way of quick background, the team for this project was myself and James Ridge. My background, again, very briefly, is 34 years in local government. My background's engineering. I was with Surrey, West Vancouver for 10 years, City of Vancouver for 15 years, Squamish and Port Moody. My favorite job in my career is Waterworks Superintendent at the District of West Vancouver. But I did all kinds of different jobs and was CAO in Squamish and City Manager in Port Moody. Started the Innova Strategy Group in 2016. We do all kinds of work in local government, but primarily organizational reviews. The last one that we finished a few weeks ago was Camel River number 74. The bunch of board experience too. James Ridge, my colleague who can't make it tonight for family reasons, was on the senior leadership team for the City of Toronto, CEO in District of North Van, Deputy City Manager in Vancouver, and his last job before he joined us was City Manager for the City of Burlington, Ontario. And he is the author of Welcome to the Hall, which is the book for new elected officials in Canada. And he's excited because now he gets $6 a copy because he's over, I think, 3,000 copies sold. So he's quite happy. So that was the team that did this work. And this is, again, we've done over 70 reviews. What we do is we typically review a large volume of material, interview a number of different people, speak to the municipal manager and deputy municipal manager, and tease out what we can. We've done all these reviews and we pick up best practices in Canada, in British Columbia particularly, and find methods and different ways to be the most efficient you can. On the right is where West Vancouver sat in population last year. We have worked in all of those municipalities there except for Penticton, Vernon, and North Vancouver City. So we've done reviews or work in all of those municipalities. So some very good comparators for like-sized municipalities. The good news is that it's a council that cares about their community and cares about what they do. And when we look at organizations, one of the most critical things is the division between council and staff. So council, a good council, is only responsible and only works on policy, finances, and strategy. They don't get into the weeds. They don't get into operations. That's left to the municipal manager and the rest of staff. And it was very good to see that council understands their swim lane, so to speak, and stays in that swim lane, allowing the operational side to be done efficiently while supporting everything that's done in operations. So that was very, very positive for us. The strategic plan, as Mr. Finley mentioned, is a really good one. We've seen hundreds. It's one of the best because it is one that can actually be delivered versus overarching ideas that can never actually be achieved. West Vancouver provides an exceptionally high level of service in a number of areas. We talk about your recreational services, your senior services, your fire and police. They are very, very high levels of service. And again, that I think is a reflection on what the community wants. We saw very competent staff throughout, talked to a number of people, and you have a really well defined team at the District of West Van with talent all over the place. We also saw the senior leadership team and the senior managers really, really strong leadership, which is important. Trust me, we've gone through many reviews where we have not been positive about the leadership team strength and the leadership team capabilities. In this case, West Van is very strong, and your municipal manager, Mr. Finley, and I don't say this lightly because we're very honest in our reviews, provides excellent leadership and has created a great idea of a team that can be best to support the organization, to support council. There's very healthy and productive relationships between managed and the unions. Congratulations on your recent settlement with transit. There's very strong systems in other areas. Financial policy, asset manager are really, really strong, particularly for the size of municipality you are. And overall, across the board, when we compare to like-sized municipality, you're better than average in many, many areas. Our findings, and and again, we have a number of findings, but the key ones is the structure when we did this review creates some misalignments that impact operations and some clarity and efficiency. And that's not unusual for organizations. We see that all the time. Organizations evolve for a number of reasons, but it wasn't, in our opinion, best suited for being as productive and efficient as possible. As examples, the span of control in some of the large departments of business units, 37% of staff are in engineering, transportation, and 20% are in parks, culture, and community services. So over 50%, well over 50% in those two areas. And there's over 700 employees with the District of Vancouver. That's a lot of staff to manage in one specific department. We found functions within departments that could be better aligned in different areas or better aligned with different partner business units. The district has a lot of staff, is robustly staffed, but a lot of that, when we related it to the services provided, it's the commitment of this council and previous councils to provide those high quality and exceptional levels of service, particularly recreation services and again, police and fire. And we just don't see that in other municipalities. We saw a lot of opportunities that could be found to strengthen succession planning and career growth for existing staff. And this is always important for the continuity of the organization, not only for the knowledge that people have within the organization, but it is always best practice if you can move people up through an organization to succeed. There's some internal support services, communications, HR, and some others that have a strong base and they're doing well, but they can do more to strengthen the confidence in the organization. And one thing we did find missing is there isn't a facilities plan to figure out what you're doing in the next 5 to 50 years. And that is critical because you have a number of facilities, whether it's fire stations or recreation facilities or others that you need to determine how to maintain those so that they can be in the same shape as what they are today. So our key recommendations are, and Mr. Finley's already working on this, is a transition plan to implement improvements. Change management, it is so important to do it right to make sure the organization can be built in a thoughtful and strong way. And Mr. Finley has been working on that and keeps me apprised of that. And that has gone really well, the transition so far. Continue to strengthen labor relations and HR services within the district. It's important to develop communication strategic plan to enhance how the organization connects both with each other and the community. And we see that in many organizations with social media and other ways to communicate. It is critical that you get that right so the true information is getting to the right people. We also believe it's important for an organization the size of West Vancouver to review every business unit on a continual basis once every 5 or 7 years. And that's where you can get to the next level of detail to optimize services and find additional savings. Another thing is to all staff to receive regular supported development conversations and coaching. They're in some areas of the district, they're doing career development, but in other areas it was absent, and it's important everybody gets that opportunity to be the best they can be. As discussed before, a robust succession planning to help career development will ensure that particularly your senior leadership roles have qualified and educated and informed staff that can move up the ladder. There's some remaining work to be done on asset management, particularly condition assessments on your facilities. And another thing that we came up with, and we say this into all our organizational reviews, is you should review all your council committees after each election to ensure they're adding value and they're supporting the goals and objectives of the organization and of council. My final comment is that Mr. Finley is moving ahead to deliver on the recommendations, and I know he's doing it in a very thoughtful and delicate manner. When you're doing an organizational change, it can be difficult if not thought through ahead of time with the detail, and as far as I understand, it is going extremely well. The senior leadership team is operating collaboratively, which is so important. Scott is only this good by himself, but he's this good with a great team around him, and he is absolutely relying on that organization to effectively grow the organization even further than it already has. And that leadership team will find additional long-term efficiencies. There's a much longer list of recommendations than this. There's no expectation that they're all going to be done this year or even next year. Some are 2 or 3 years to get done, but it's important that those are worked towards. For you, council in particular, I think it's important you know that in a number of areas, West Van is best of breed, as I like to call it. You're doing a higher level of service than any other organization we've seen. And again, we've seen 74 now. I'm very happy to say that Mayor Sager Council and the community should be confident and proud of the great work being undertaken by West Vancouver staff, and also proud of the direction that you've given them to achieve everything they have. I thank you, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. I know members of council have had the chance to go over this in detail. I'm not expecting, but Councillor Watt, you have a question.
I thought all the mics would light up before mine. Thank you so very much. And Mr. Finley, thank you for taking the initiative to go through with this review. Yeah, so if there was, this may be an awkward question, one recommendation that you would make above all else? Or is that too difficult a question?
Through the chair, what I would say to that is the next evolution of this after this review and really a roadmap of what can be done immediately is departmental reviews. To me, that is the biggest return when you go to the next layer in the organization, evaluate those, and it can be done internally. You don't need consultants, but you will find savings, particularly when you start comparing to what others are doing out there, best of breed and other things. And some of the other organizations we're dealing with, they're utilizing AI to find ways to be efficient in a number of areas.
Thank you. And one other question, I'm sure my colleagues have a lot of questions as well, but you mentioned, and I know this was discussed in the past, that we're very robustly staffed and top of the 74 that you have reviewed. Are we providing too much service in your opinion?
Through the chair, I can't answer that. It's your community that needs to answer that, because I'll just give a brief example. My mother used the seniors facilities for years. No one comes close to West Vancouver for the senior facilities and the services. And I think when you look at reducing any of what I call discretionary services, those that aren't required either by law or are required for public safety and other reasons, you need to be careful because it's your community are the ones that decide.
Yeah. Thank you so very much.
You'll be interested to know that we've got an issue later on the agenda tonight about seniors and ice rinks and facilities. So your timing is kind of fun. That wasn't planned, by the way, Councillor Gambioli.
That's what we hear outside is those seniors yelling out. So I have a couple of comments, but the only question I guess I really have is, some people will look at this and say, wow, this report's too good to be true. Can you just talk about how you were chosen to do this and, just to confirm the independence of your assessment?
Through the chair, besides what Scott paid me on the side, we are completely independent. And again, we have, besides my love for West Vancouver, that doesn't come into the business side of this. And when we approach these, it's a business-minded approach. We use a number of different ways to evaluate organizations against each other. The biggest thing I think we have and the advantage we have about being impartial is we see what others are doing out there, what they're doing well, what they're doing poorly. And when we can compare to West Vancouver, we could really have a direct comparison of where do you fit in the hierarchy of what's being done well. And so in the report, of course, there's things that could be better, and we've identified those, and that's how we do that. But no, we're always completely impartial on this, and again, we wouldn't be in the business if we didn't remain impartial.
Mr. Ramsey, thanks for, sorry, Councillor Gambioli.
That was just the warm up.
Okay.
Well, so that's a great segue because Scott, Mr. Finley, you explained that this hasn't been done for more than 20 years. And I know I've been here almost 15, and I know we've sort of tried on several occasions to start and kind of do internal assessments, et cetera, but they haven't really come to the same kind of substantive conclusions that this has. So, you know, I really, really appreciate this report. This is by far the most effective feedback I've ever seen for the organization, and it's still high level enough that it's really, really helpful to our staff. And the part about us, you know, choosing to spend more on things like seniors and parks and rec and public safety. I think that we should be paying attention to that messaging when we talk about our budget. Because we, you know, always get lambasted in about January, give or take, by, you know, the Fraser Institute or whoever else is, you know, opining on the subject. But we have many reasons for that. But one of those reasons that I haven't heard clearly before is because, like you say in your report, we have chosen to spend more money than most municipalities on certain services. So I think that's a really important message for our communications and our finance departments to get out in the future, because it is really relevant. And of course, people can have feedback on that, and then we'll know. But I think we've got it right, and it explains a few things. And the last thing I just want to say is with the strategic plan, you know, the deliverables, 72% really shows strong progress, and it's really impressive staff leadership in all the departments. I see a lot of our department heads here tonight and Mr. Finley, so I really thank you for all of your amazing work for our community. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Well, Mr. Ramsey, I think you've come to the same conclusion that those of us who have the honor of serving our community understand, and that is we are very, very fortunate with the leadership of Mr. Finley and all of our staff in West Vancouver. I agree with your conclusion. We have excellent, capable people. Also grateful for your observations that have resulted in our municipal manager finding a way to reduce $1.4 million in staffing costs without impacting on our service levels. So thank you, sir. Could I have a motion, please, to receive the report? Councillor Watt, please.
Thank you. And I also just want to add one thing, you know, the speed with which Mr. Finley began to act on these recommendations was truly impressive. So thank you both. And on that note, I would like to recommend that the June 1st, 2026 report titled Council Strategic Plan Update and Innova Strategy Group Presentation be received for information.
Thank you, Councillor Gambula. Seconded, move seconded, discussion, question, all in favor, contrary carried. Thank you. We'll move to, thanks again, Mr. Ramsey. We'll move to item number 6, the Density Reserve Bonus Fund Establishment. Mr. Hawkins, I see you're coming forward. Is there a brief presentation on this?
That's correct, Your Worship. Good evening. Yes, this is a short presentation. This and the subsequent item are both related, although separate, but both short and administrative in nature. So through Provincial Bill 16, the Local Government Act was amended, creating a new legislative requirement for all local governments that any monies collected through what are termed density bonus zones must be deposited into a separate statutory reserve and that those reserves be established by June 30th of this year. So that's the purpose of the report in front of council. For clarity, density bonus refers to zones where there is a fixed dollar per square foot rate for residential floor area that exists within area-wide zoning schedules. So these aren't individual site-specific zones, they're broader zoning schedules. West Vancouver has 2 such examples, the AC zone in Ambleside and RG in Horseshoe Bay. So we would characterize this as very much an administrative change. only. So to be clear, there is no change to either the allowed density, there's no upzoning or downzoning in terms of what can be built in these zones, nor is there a change to the square foot dollar rates that are established within these zones. It really is about creating a new pot of money for the monies to be deposited into. So it's about establishing a new reserve, and there are no additional restrictions on council's use of those monies. It's just about allocating them to a new statutory reserve. And again, for clarity, this does not alter, it's not related to council's ability to consider site-specific CACs that can be proposed through site-specific rezonings, nor does it impact council's ability to collect and spend those CACs. So in conclusion, consistent with the provincial legislation, staff are recommending that council read the proposed new reserve a first, second, and third time.
Thanks very much. Pretty straightforward. Councillor Snyder, please.
Yes, so thank you for that clarification, so that everybody understands the reasoning behind this. And based on that, I'd like to recommend that the proposed density bonus reserve fund bylaw number 5453 2026 be read for a first, second, and third time.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Any discussion? Call a question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you. Item number 7. Again, Mr. Hawkins, I assume you're leading this presentation.
I am. Thank you, Your Worship. So as mentioned, this is the second and related piece. This is also administrative and short in nature, and it's specific to amending the text definitions within the zoning bylaw to one of the impacted zones. So without repeating myself, this is also necessitated legislatively through Bill 16. And the criteria here is, or the requirement here is that any density bonus zoning provisions need to provide the option for a developer building within their zoned rights to provide either the amenity in a built form, so in kind, or as cash in lieu. As mentioned, that the impacted zones by this legislation are the AC and RG zones. On staff's review of the RG zone in Horseshoe Bay, its language currently does not explicitly provide the option for an amenity to be built as opposed to only providing cash in lieu options. So the amendment proposed is to simply mirror the existing definition language within the AC zone and to update the RG zone accordingly. Similar to the previous item, staff would characterize this as administrative only in nature. It just simply clarifies and updates text definitions. So again, to repeat, doesn't change what can be built, doesn't increase or decrease the density or change the dollar amounts. It is a form of housekeeping. Staff would expect this to be immaterial in practice in that anyone choosing to build within their development rights is overwhelmingly likely to provide cash in lieu because there simply won't be the space to provide a built amenity. So an example would be these zones allow for things like multiplexes on single lots. In Horseshoe Bay, there wouldn't be the space or feasibility, for example, to provide a park, but they can continue to provide cash towards park improvements in the Horseshoe Bay neighborhood. So given that it's housekeeping in nature, and it's for legislative compliance, and it is entirely consistent with Council's OCP, public hearing is not required under the LGA. So staff's recommendation is that Council read the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, is that Council schedule readings for the zoning bylaw amendments for July 6th, and that a public hearing be waived, and that notice be given of Council's scheduled consideration. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Snyder. I'll ask.
I won't repeat what you've just stated as the recommendation, so I will, as recommended.
Councillor Cassidy. Discussion, question, all in favor? Contrary carried. Thank you. Approval for public art. We have a presentation. Who is going to? Ms. Kettler? No? Doty. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll just bring up the presentation. Oh, what happened to that? It's still there. Oh.
Are there a lot of young ice skaters out in the lobby? Thought so. Well, we're getting there. Only one more item.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Eric Bartno, and I'm the Chair of the Public Art Advisory Committee. I'm here this evening to present the committee's recommendations regarding the proposed public art installation for Horseshoe Bay Park. This is with reference to a May the 7th council report. Okay, first, I'd like to acknowledge the members of the Public Art Committee. The committee includes community members with a range of perspectives and experience, and we are supported by Council Liaison Councillor Linda Watt, and as well as staff from Cultural Services. Our role is to review public art opportunities and provide recommendations to council that reflect artistic merit, site suitability, public value, and long-term stewardship considerations. Okay, the purpose of tonight's presentation is to seek council approval for a new piece of public art on the northwest corner of Horseshoe Bay Park. The proposed artwork is sculpture titled Standing on Shoulders by West Vancouver artist Martha Sturdy. It will be about 10 feet 9 inches tall, and it's orbitally sanded to give it a brushed look and to eliminate all of the welding seams so they won't be noticeable. The committee has been communicating for over 2 years with Martha Sturdy, who is an internationally exhibiting artist with deep roots in West Vancouver, especially Horseshoe Bay. The District of West Vancouver has exhibited a number of artworks by Martha Sturdy in the past, but these have been temporary installations at the Harmony Arts Festival and at the Art Museum. There is nothing in the West Vancouver Public Art Collection from Martha Sturdy at this point in time. Our committee considers her to be a major artist and an important figure in the West Vancouver art scene. Okay, the recommendation are the committee's support for this work reflects several considerations. First, it's a significant sculptural piece that's well suited to a prominent public setting. Second, its scale and materiality are appropriate for an outdoor waterfront setting, park context really. Third, the relatively low anticipated long-term maintenance costs are an important practical feature for a long-term civic asset. Overall, the committee believes that this artwork would make a strong contribution to Horseshoe Bay Park and to the district public art collection. We are seeking approval for both the sculpture and for the transfer of $140,000 from the Public Art Reserve to cover the full project costs. Any remaining funds would be returned to the reserve. That is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks very much. And just a question, because it's close proximity to the ocean and the salt air, the material is suitable and won't pit and do all the things
It
that
will not. It's aluminum and it has been clear coated so that it should last for a long time with minimal maintenance.
Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's really a pleasure working with this committee and the, remarkably talented and diverse members. And I want to add that there's been a lot of dialogue, around the table on this piece, and it's some finessing, I suppose, at the end, and so that it seamlessly rises. And so it's nice to see that in the image. Thank you so much. So on that, I would like to recommend that as recommended by the Public Art Advisory Committee and outlined in the May 7, 2026 report from the Senior Manager Cultural Services, the sculpture titled Standing on Shoulders by artist Martha Sturdy be approved, and number 2, $140,000 be transferred from the Public Art Fund to cover the full costs related to the project, with any remaining funds to be returned to the Public Art Reserve Fund.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli.
I'm going to second that motion, but I also have a question and a
Thank you,
comment.
please.
So just a question along the lines of, the materials. I can see my son wanting to climb that thing. So I guess there's going to be signs that say, please don't climb it, or, if people can't read the signs, they're going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, we haven't, good question. We haven't yet had any discussions about signs to say don't climb it like they do have by the Grosvenor, which are extremely effective as far as I can determine, except with all the children climbing all over them. But,
Yeah.
nevertheless, it should be quite safe for climbing. We tried to, the balls on top to keep, they're unlikely to climb onto that. So the rest of it is not that high. It's not, and the edges of the piece itself will be sanded so that there shouldn't be any problem with the sharp edges. And if they do appear to be too sharp for us, we can put the contractor can put a radius on there to make them harmless.
Okay, I'll let my son know.
Okay.
And the other point I just wanted to point out is that the $140,000 comes from the reserve fund that we already have,
Yep.
but all that money, I should say, none of that money is from taxpayers.
right.
All of that money comes from essentially a form of community amenity contributions from developers that have given the money to the district over the years because of their development costs.
Thank you for that.
Contribution. So I think that's an important point to make. None of this money comes from taxpayers. Yeah, so I will second it. And wonderful.
point.
Thanks for the report. Very interesting report. And it's obviously a very important artist that we want to have in our piece in our community.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now on to the civic site projects. And who-
Is it okay if I open the door to?
Oh, sure. Yeah, make sure all the young people come in and join us. I wonder if any of their parents are sitting in here tonight. Oh, here we go. And they're all going, what are we doing tonight?
Why are these all
I don't know.
stacked
There you
on
go.
each other? Thank you.
Come on in, folks, grab a seat. You don't need to stand at the back. There's empty seats.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm here this evening to provide an update on the civic site projects from both the Multi-Sheet Ice Complex Advisory Roundtable, so the MyCar, and the Seniors Activity Center Advisory Board, and to seek approval to complete a feasibility study to assess the need for and explore key considerations associated with developing a multi-sheet ice complex in West Vancouver and a site plan to guide the development of a new build of the Seniors Activity Center in West Vancouver. These are being brought forward to council together to ensure they're considered concurrently. These projects could impact each other and will inform future planning on the civic site. There we go. So the presentation will include information related to the civic site, the ice arena, the Seniors Activity Center, the projects and related funding, next steps, and a recommendation. The civic site is a district-owned property located between 21st and 22nd Streets and Marine Drive and Gordon Avenue. It's centrally located, accessible by transit, and offers a variety of programs and services for the community all in one place. The district has supported recreation programs and services for all ages for decades, focusing on delivering inclusive opportunities that contribute to the health, belonging, and quality of life across all ages. As the community grows and demographics shift, participation and service expectations continue to evolve. Enhance West Van is a nonprofit society that has a joint operating agreement with the district, which includes oversight of the West Vancouver Community Center, Aquatic Center, and Ice Arena. Over the years, Enhance West Van has led initiatives to explore current and future recreational needs of West Vancouver residents, ensuring planning for facilities supports community growth and demand. The West Vancouver Ice Arena opened in 1966 and is the only public indoor sheet of ice in West Vancouver. Since it opened, the only major improvement made to the facility was the replacement of the ice arena floor in 2018. During the ice season, which runs from the end of August to the middle of June every year, almost all ice time during operating hours of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. are booked. The arena is used by participants of all ages, as you can see in the room this evening, from children to seniors, and in 2025 attracted approximately 112,100 participants to programs, events, and rentals. Based on a structured and fair allocation process, the district programs and events use 40% of the available ice times. Rental groups book the remaining 60% and often request access to more, but there's no availability. Rental groups have also shared that they have to travel outside of West Vancouver and off the North Shore to access additional ice for their programs. In spring 2025, Enhance West Van presented a Skate Forward initiative to council, which requested that staff begin to develop plans for a new multi-sheet ice complex in West Vancouver. Council directed staff to establish a district-led advisory roundtable tasked with developing a project plan and budget for a new multi-sheet ice complex. The MyCar was formed to complete this work and consisted of membership from Enhance West Van directors, community partners engaged in ice sport, and district staff. Built in 1980, the Seniors Activity Center offers a wide range of programs and services to seniors in West Vancouver and is home to approximately 4,700 active members and 500 active volunteers. A variety of renovations and expansions have taken place at the SAC between 1994 and 2022 to support growth and demand of the programs and services. In 2021, the SAC Advisory Board partnered with the district to conduct a SAC facility needs assessment and feasibility study. A working group was formed and they hired a consultant, HCMA, to lead the project. In 2024, the working group presented the findings to council. At that time, the working group determined that further examination was required. The Seniors Activity Center Advisory Roundtable was formed to develop a plan for the future of the SAC in West Vancouver. In 2025, the roundtable presented to council with their proposed next steps and that a new build of the SAC was recommended to support the needs of seniors in West Vancouver now and into the future. Council directed staff to review the scope of the study, review locations for a new build, and to develop a business plan for the build of a new SAC. The advisory board met to review the scope of the study and to determine what was required for a new build of the SAC. Throughout these conversations, it was determined that the civic site was the ideal location for a new build of the SAC, and the next step was to conduct a site plan. The district approved 2026 capital program that was adopted on March 9th, 2026 includes $50,000 for ice arena planning and $50,000 for SAC planning. Based on the work of the MyCar, staff recommend completing a feasibility study for a multi-sheet ice complex. The purpose of the feasibility study is to evaluate the need for and viability of a multi-sheet ice complex before significant resources are committed. As no preferred location has been identified, the proposed feasibility study will also include a land assessment review. Based on the work completed by the advisory board, staff recommend preparing a site plan for a new SAC on the civic site. The current location is centrally located, accessible by vehicle, transit, and foot, particularly for seniors living in nearby apartment buildings. The purpose of the site plan is to confirm the building's size, placement, and preliminary cost implications within the civic site. Unlike a feasibility study, this work is focused on planning how the facility could be integrated into a known location. Completing these two projects are important steps in planning effectively for the future needs of this community. Together, these two projects will provide important information to support future decision-making regarding new and enhanced recreational facilities in West Vancouver. If approved, staff will issue 2 requests for proposals to commission the required consultants to complete these projects. Once the contracts are awarded, staff expect the projects to take approximately 4 months to complete. Upon completion, staff will bring forward the findings and recommendations to council to consider the next steps for a multi-sheet ice complex and a new SAC. Future next steps will require a site plan for a multi-sheet ice complex prior to moving ahead with the development of any new facility on the civic site or elsewhere in West Vancouver. This step will align both potential projects to the same phase of their respective developments. So the recommendation in front of you tonight is that the report be received for information. Staff complete a feasibility study for a multi-sheet ice complex in West Vancouver. Staff complete a site plan for a new build of the Seniors Activity Center in West Vancouver, and that staff report back to council by winter 2027 with the findings and the recommended next steps.
You said,
Thank you.
really? 2027 winter? Don't you mean 2026?
Winter 2027 would be coming back to you by March of 2027.
Oh, I see, of course. Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm hoping this doesn't take forever and, you know, we can get on with making the community's dream a reality. Thank you very much, Ms. Gill, for that presentation. Councillor Watt, do you have a question? I was going to turn it over to Councillor Cassidy for a motion if she would do that. We can discuss it, but let's put a motion on the floor.
Certainly, and thank you very much for the presentation. I recommend that the May 2026 report from the Senior Manager Community Services titled Civic Site Projects be received for information. Staff complete a feasibility study for a multi-sheet ice complex in West Vancouver. Staff complete a site plan for a new build of the Seniors Activity Center in West Vancouver, and staff report back to council by winter 2027 with the findings and recommended next steps.
Could we just change that prior to the spring of 2027?
That's a good idea. When I read it, I thought that could be interpreted as up until December 20th, 2027.
Is
as
that
well.
is that a friendly amendment?
Yes, okay.
Sometimes we say by the second quarter or something, by quarter
just-
two, before quarter two.
Let's not
Okay.
let anybody think we're sitting on this. If that's a friendly amendment, Councillor Snyder, are you willing to second it? Thank you.
Do you want me to read accordingly?
No, I think our corporate officers have that. Yep, we're good. Okay, any discussion? Councillor Snyder?
So just a quick comment, just so that everybody understands sort of the needs. And I know you address and you say that with, you know, it is in consideration the future needs, but I think that it's important that people understand the current situation that we're in now for both capacity, ice rink capacity and our programs that we offer, as well as the programs of the senior center. So maybe you could just comment on that.
Sure, through the mayor to Councillor Snyder. So as I mentioned, the ice arena itself is at capacity between our operating hours of 6 a.m. in the morning till 10 p.m. at night. So as I mentioned, users need to travel outside of West Vancouver or off the North Shore to access additional ice times. For the Seniors Activity Center programs, the peak capacity times are between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. And programs that don't have space within that building, we look to find spaces in the community center where space is available to move some of those programs over, specifically between like 12 and 3 in the afternoon, where space may be available.
Okay, let me maybe rephrase the question then. Are we providing the amount of services and programs at capacity? I'm assuming I know the answer to this, but it's more so the capacity of the programs themselves, not so much the usage of the space.
Sure. Sorry, through the mayor to Councillor Snyder. Yes, our programs are at capacity in all of our areas, specifically our seniors programs and our ice arena programs that we run, which is the 40% of the ice times that we use.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Watt, please.
Thank you so much for the presentation. So I understand that about 30% of the usage at the senior centers from North Van. And I understand that, but also I was reading recently that the Silver Harbor Senior Center in the city of North Van is rebuilding. Do we anticipate that that will take some of the pressure off our existing facility?
Through the mayor to Councillor Watt, it's hard to say how much or how many seniors potentially would move over to programs at Silver Harbor. I know their facility is not going to be as big as ours, and they offer different programs than we offer in West Vancouver. The other major component in West Van is the cafeteria and the food services that we offer that draw a significant amount of seniors to our facility.
So our existing center is larger than what they're building?
The new Silver Harbor is not going to be as big as the West Vancouver Seniors Activity Center.
Wow, interesting. Okay, thank you so much. And when it comes to the ice, it's always fascinated me that West Vancouver, I believe we have the lowest ice per capita ratio in the entire country. So I certainly hope we can find donations and the necessary funds for these important works. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Yes, so in the 2018 time period, I was the representative to enhance West Van, i.e. the rec center. And at that point in time, we toured extensively throughout the Lower Mainland as to the quality of ice arenas out there. And I was incredibly impressed. But my question here is, what logistically is going to occur should we, in point of fact, go forward and approve it? Are we going to tear down the current ice arena and build the new, or there's no other site to contemplate building the new arena on the premises
But
of
that
the
that
current
is what
site?
this study will
We're
help
going
with.
to take down the old and put up a new.
So through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, we're not sure where a new arena would go yet.
All
Part
right.
of the feasibility study will include a land assessment review of
Okay,
potentially available land in West Vancouver,
all right.
or what could it look like on the civic site potentially. That hasn't been
Okay, all
confirmed
right.
yet.
I thought I read somewhere that the most logistically opportune was exactly where it was, i.e. on that site, but not necessarily that place. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please.
So I'm just wondering, is it because the site currently houses both activities, or is it just that the buildings are coming towards the end of their lives or under pressure, that this is a report that's put them together? Or is it because there is some coordination that is going to benefit, from looking at them together? Why is this report, together?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli. So again, it's important that council see these and consider these two projects together, as there could be an impact on the civic site for both. We don't know that yet. This is part of that feasibility study to understand where a new multi-sheet ice complex could go in West Vancouver. The civic site will be one of the potential locations that's considered, but there could be other land choices. And if the civic site is the chosen location, we need to again make sure that both of these projects are considered at the same, together, because ultimately, if the civic site is the chosen location, there would need to be a phased approach for how we develop two new facilities.
And so we do a feasibility study for the ICE, we do a site plan for the senior center. Is there any value in hiring the same company to do both? Is that what's on your mind?
Through Mayor Sigger to Council Gambioli, yes, absolutely. There could be the same consultant that does both, and there could be efficiencies with that.
All right, I'm getting it.
Thank you. Councillor Watt, please.
Yeah, thank you. The last time this came to us regarding the senior center, there was the discussion between renovating the existing and adding on, or a new build. But if I understand correctly, this is requesting to look entirely at a new build.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And the motion is carried. Thanks very much. And thanks everybody for coming out and cheering on. It's a small step, but we're getting there. Thanks very much. Maybe we'll give you a moment to take the young ones home. You're all in favor. I haven't. Sorry? Do you think it'll be that much? Well, I got one fellow for the ice room. Okay, somebody will close the door. Thanks so much. Item number 10, we have a presentation on the development proposal for 1552 Esquimalt Avenue. Ms. McGuire, thanks for joining us.
So good evening, Mayor and members of council, members of the public. So for consideration tonight is a proposed development project in the Ambleside area located at 1552 Esquimalt. And you can see an artist rendering of the development proposal here on the screen. This slide just shows the location of the site. The site is quite large. It's approximately 82,500 square feet, and it has Esquimalt Avenue directly to the north, 15th Street directly to the east, Duchess Avenue directly to the south. And then there's a lane directly to the west, separating this site from the West Shore apartment building that's also located adjacent to the site to the west. The site does slope fairly significantly down towards the south. And then there's an existing 20-story rental building on the site, on the eastern portion of the site. There's also underground parking and existing surface parking. And then this site is currently zoned RM2 and as are sites in the surrounding area. And they're developed with a mix of apartments ranging in size from 6 up to 17 stories in the immediate surrounding area. This shows another artist rendering of the proposed new building. One of the key things about the proposal is that it would retain and protect the existing 20-story rental building on the site. And then the proposal is to build a new 19-story strata residential building. And that's what you can see the rendering of here on the site, or on the screen rather. So overall, the site-wide floor area ratio, or FAR, is proposed at 3.0. The new building would include 126 units. And those range in size from studio units up to 3-bedroom units. And then in terms of parking, in total, upon completion, if the project was approved and then constructed, there would be a total of 336 parking spaces. That would be 155 for the rental building, 174 for the strata building, and then 7 shared surface parking stalls. Also included with the project, there's new landscaping and new boulevard improvements. And one of the key aspects of the proposal is a new landscaped amenity area on the southern portion of the site that's primarily accessed from Duchess Avenue. So that's proposed to be available to residents of both buildings, but also it would be secured through a covenant to be publicly accessible as well to residents in the surrounding area. And then the project was reviewed as typical for rezoning projects like this one by a third-party financial consultant that the district hired. And resulting from that review, the applicant is offering a community amenity contribution, or CAC, of $9 million. Just a little bit more in terms of parking. Because the existing rental building is proposed to remain, the applicant has come forward with a 2-phase parking strategy. And what that would do is it would make sure that there were a minimum of 155 stalls available during construction for the existing rental building. And then in phase 2, the new 155 stalls would be constructed for the rental building, and then that would allow for construction of the new parkade for the infill strata building and the new building itself. The project's being brought forward under the Ambleside apartment area policy that you can see here on the screen. That's included in the official community plan that council adopted through the Ambleside local area plan process. And for sites like this one and this one, it allows for consideration of different maximum densities, different maximum FARs, depending on the tenure of the residential development proposed. In this case, the applicant has proposed a strata infill building, and that is why there is a significant community amenity contribution that comes along with the project. And so in this case, because the proposal is at 3.0 FAR and it's a strata infill proposal, an OCP amendment would be required. And that's why a public hearing would be required for the project as well.
So just to be clear on that point,
Sure.
if they came forward with it as a strictly rental building, there would be no public hearing. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. It
Thank
would be
you.
prohibited from having a public hearing because it would be entirely compliant with the official community plan. And that's the new legislation from the province where it prohibits public hearings in those cases.
Thanks
Yes.
very much.
The planning committee did review the project at its meeting in March earlier this year, and they passed this motion that you can see here on the screen. And the motion was unqualified support with no comments that would require revisions or further information from their perspective. The applicant did host public information meetings, 2 neighborhood meetings, one in July of last year before submitting the formal application, and then one more recently in April of this year. There's 2 reports that are appended to the staff report that provide more detail in terms of the feedback received by the applicant. Those are applicant reports, but they're included in the package. And there is a range of comments that have been received by the applicant and by council for that matter, in terms of some in support, but some with concerns for sure. And the concerns have really focused on building height and density and a perception about lack of neighborhood fit for the proposed infill building, as well as concerns related to traffic, parking, and construction impacts. Just in terms of the height and the density and the neighborhood fit, in staff's opinion, we have looked at the proposed new building, and based on the limited, well, it's a relatively small footprint compared to the existing rental building. And with the separation between the proposed building and surrounding immediate buildings, and with the range of heights in the area, in staff's opinion, we do feel that this proposed building is appropriate for this site. And then just in terms of traffic and parking, in addition to the parking strategy that I described, the applicant also provided a traffic impact assessment report, which was reviewed by our engineering staff, and they've reviewed that and accepted and support the findings of that. So to conclude, we are recommending that council give first reading to the proposed bylaws and set the date for public hearing for June 29th. As in staff's opinion, the project is appropriate and supportable. It would advance key housing objectives by adding 126 new homes and then also securing the 185 existing rental homes in perpetuity. It would deliver public benefits, including the publicly accessible amenity area, as well as a cash community amenity contribution, along with off-site boulevard and service upgrades. And generally, because of the site's proximity to convenient public transit services and amenities in Ambleside. Thank you, and happy to answer any questions. In this case, because the decision before council is to just set the date for public hearing, the applicant hasn't prepared a presentation, but they are here if council has questions.
Thank you. No, this is to set a public hearing. Councillor Gambioli, please.
So just a few questions. I guess that last slide kind of answers my question, but my recollection is this is the first application to come before us since we passed the apartment area of the LAP. And staff wrote that for us and recommended it, and now this is the first application, and we're only here tonight because they're asking for more density than the LAP, which we just passed. So this is why staff is recommending these 3 points, are why staff is recommending that that you support this, even though it's the first application and they're already asking for more density.
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, in this case, and as I tried to communicate in the presentation, is that the proposed floor area ratio is included in the Ambleside apartment area directions for this site. So sites can go up to 3 FAR. It is in the policy tied to being either a rental or co-op building. But in terms of the overall form and the density, that's explicitly supported through that policy direction. It's just a question of tenure. And so in balancing the community amenities that are part of the overall project that includes a new infill building, in staff's opinion, it merited being sent to a public hearing and being supported.
So if we go back to that tenure, the section about on tenure with the FAR, am I supposed to read that as this would actually come under the second one, mixed strata and rental, because it's existing rental and new strata? Is that how I'm supposed to interpret that, or how staff interpret that?
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambielli, no, so
No.
these tenures are related to the infill.
The new
development,
infill,
the
so
new infill
really,
development.
so really, it's the first one, strata up to 2.5 FAR, but they're actually asking for 3. So this is why we're here tonight. Okay, and so there's 2 more questions about the public realm. So I don't find that there's enough information in the report about the public realm on the south side. It talks about an access or a path from Esquimalt to Dutchess and vice versa that the public can use, but I don't really see that in the diagram. So can someone explain how I'm supposed to cut through that property if I'm a, non-resident? Because I don't really see that.
Sure, through the mayor to Councillor Gambielli. So are you talking about the new amenity area that's proposed on the
I'm
the
talking
south
about
side?
wherever it says that there's a great new amenity that I can
Right.
cut through the property if I'm a pedestrian, but I don't see that.
So the access for the public that would be secured to that new landscaped amenity area, that's primarily from Dutchess. There will be access agreements needed for access between the strata building and the rental building, because there's common facilities. But for the amenity area that's intended for both residential or both use by the residents and use by the public, that's primarily accessed from Dutchess and is programmed basically on the south side of where the infill strata building is.
Okay, so did I misunderstand that? There's not an access to kind of cut through the property from Dutchess to Esquimalt or vice versa? Is that correct?
Maybe I should just double check
I don't know.
that just to
I thought
make
that's what I
sure.
read, and then I looked at the diagrams and I couldn't really see that.
Perhaps we should ask the applicant that question.
Okay, I can ask the applicant that
They are
question
here as
after.
well, yes.
But hold on a second, hold on,
Sure.
because I've got another question. So the blue, I'm gonna call it the blue wavy area. I don't know what to call it in the diagram. So what is that?
So
Because I can't tell.
yeah, through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli. I mean, it's proposed as a sort of mixed amenity area. So there's the lawn area, but then there's the area that has a surface that's more usable for maybe more play or different activities. But the entire area that's shown in the landscape plans, including the lawn area and the blue area that you're mentioning, is a part of the amenity area.
So that I can take my kid there and play soccer if I want?
I don't know if it would be suitable for soccer, but it could be used for, sort of leisure or recreation, and it's intended to be publicly accessible.
Bocce.
But maybe
Bocce.
Maybe bocce.
Bocce.
Okay, so the grass part, I get it. But the blue part, I don't understand. What is that? Is that plastic? Is that a playground? Is that a sloping, like, water feature? Like, what is that?
And maybe I will invite the applicant to.
Okay.
We'll let the
respond.
applicant
All right, I just
answer.
want to know what
Detailed
staff
questions about the
understood it to
design.
be. I wanted to know what staff understood it to be.
It is intended to not be, it's not a landscaped area with like planting. And so it's intended to provide sort of 2 different services for different types of amenity area that could be used differently by members of the public or residents.
Okay, before I call on the applicant, though, I'll ask members of council because there may be further questions. Councillor Watt?
Yeah, thank you so much for the presentation. So if I understand correctly, as per the new local area plan and housing mandates, regardless, a building is coming. They can go up to 3 FAR for rental, or we can approve this project for strata. But regardless, there is no mechanism that there wouldn't be a building unless the applicant said we don't want to build. Am I correct?
Through the mayor to Councillor Watt, that is the direction that council adopted through the Ambleside apartment area policies that were adopted, that the intent for this site was that a residential infill development would be coming forward. It does require, obviously, the council decision for the rezoning for the site, but that's what the OCP policy sets out based on the local area planning process.
Thank you. So obviously the benefit of the current proposal then is that we also get 9 million in CACs, and we would end up with a building that would be the same size as what they could already build regardless. So And I do actually, I appreciate this proposal in putting the covenant on the existing building and look at this as a terrific opportunity to downsize within the community. So anyway, thank you. I just
you.
wanted to clarify.
Councillor Snyder, please.
Excuse me, my comment sort of extends on Councillor Watt's comment there. Was consideration as far as staff's recommendation also provided? I mean, the protection of the rental unit next door in perpetuity to me is a very important aspect of what's being proposed. And I don't really see too much here that's been taken into consideration, but I'm trusting that that was also part of staff's recommendation to allow for this because of the protection of that rental unit.
Through the mayor to Councillor Snyder, that's a very significant part of this overall proposal and definitely one of the reasons that staff supported and it's supported by the plan because it would protect the rental building through the zoning that council has before them in perpetuity.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Again, thank you for the presentation. Since we're talking about the rental building, all of us here have been through the rental building and at some point over the last couple of years and spoken with the existing tenants at that time. Now, so if we're going to have a brand spanking beautiful new building and then we're going to have the rental building next door. So is there any thought been given to improving the rental building next door so that it doesn't look tired versus the gorgeous newbie, and that perhaps some fixing up is done to the rental building, you know, economies of scale. If you have everybody doing one, then they can come over and do a little bit on the other. Has that been given thought to? Because you don't want the pretty sister and then the ugly one standing side by side. Not that it's ugly, but it's older.
I think we should ask the applicant to address that question.
I was going
to say, Ms. McGuire, thanks very much for your presentation, and the applicant or their representative, could they join us? Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, I'm Bruno Wall, CEO of Wall Financial Corporation, the applicant, and beside me is York Robinstein, the project architect.
Sorry, a little slower with his name.
Sorry, York Robinstein.
York Robinstein.
So York can answer the questions regarding the public realm, and I'll answer the question regarding the existing building.
Excellent. And just one additional question, the power lines in front of the building on Duchess, would they be coming down? You've got a beautiful new building. I'm sure those people, if they looked out, would love to not have to look at the power lines, but I'll turn it over to you.
Well, we haven't really addressed the power lines, Mayor, but we have a civil consultant on board, so they've done a preliminary site servicing plan, and I can certainly report back as to whether that would be considered.
I think your property would increase in value significantly with those power lines down. Just a thought.
Thank you.
Sir.
Okay, so just to answer the two questions, the first one was the public access from Duchess to Esquimalt. There will be publicly accessible access. There will be a publicly accessible access that is also wheelchair accessible. Yeah, a path. Yeah.
I mean, the old plan was like a loopy thing that would go up through, but I just didn't see it in the other plan.
Yeah, it's still a little bit loopy because we are trying to keep it at 5% slope to be wheelchair accessible.
Right. Okay. So I'll have to get more steps in when I take the shortcut.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
And the second question was over the other materials.
The material, the blue material is like a soft rubber material, what you find at playgrounds, because this is supposed to be the child play area. So it's a steeper slope for kids to run up and down and play, and there's going to be some play materials for kids, like logs and things to entertain kids there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Mr. Wall, a comment about the older building versus
Yes,
the
thank
newer
you.
building.
So as staff have mentioned, we are prepared to enter into a covenant with the district to keep that building as permanently rental, both in its existing form to its end of life, and if that building would ever get rebuilt, it would also have to be rental. So you can consider the 185 units to be permanently rental in perpetuity. With regard to the upgrades we've done to the building, so we've upgraded the elevators. We've completely replumbed the building. 2 years ago, we refaced all the concrete on the exterior. And we've also, through this proposal, we'll be completely rebuilding the underground parking structure. The main project that we have on the books that we want to complete is repairing or replacing all the exterior windows, which I think will deal with some of the issues about the dated look of the building. But the type of architecture, it's kind of classic West Coast brutal modernism. You know, that look is going to be maintained, just because that's what the character of that building is.
Councillor Cassidy, please.
You have a new building, which will look gorgeous, I'm sure. And then, but you don't want to be looking out on an older building that is not, shall we say, up to par from the outside, you know, freshly painted, maintained. They will both be even Steven, shall we say, in appearance?
No, you know, I don't look like I did 20 years ago either. But the exterior,
Within reason.
as I said, the concrete repairs have been completed. They were done about 2 years ago and the building was repainted. But we're not proposing to, for example, rip the concrete off and put something else on.
No, I mean a painting, for example, just to bring it up
Yep.
to the look aesthetically
I
as
think-
its next door neighbor.
Sure, it will look different naturally.
Yes.
But with the new windows, which we're hoping to do in concurrence with the development of the new building, it will enhance the look significantly.
All right, thank you. And everybody has talked about a view corridor. It's difficult to see if you're blocking a view corridor. And is there any views from the rear that are going to be blocked? I couldn't see any, but just curious.
We've done a shadow or a view impact study. York, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, so obviously there will be some impact on views from other buildings, but all buildings in the neighborhood will still maintain views to the ocean.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Gambioli, please.
Sorry, me again. So I would just say that those two public amenity spaces would benefit from having more shade. I think you should consider that. They look really, just to be very bleak in terms of any kind of greenery. I don't know, from the diagrams that I see. And I was putting pressure on some developers last meeting about solar panels. What about solar panels?
Have you considered any solar panels for the rooftops?
I don't know if our engineers have considered that or not. I don't think so.
Not so far.
No, we certainly can bring that back to them.
We would ask you to do that.
Thank you.
We have had some success with recent buildings.
Great.
Done that.
Yeah, there's a lot of incentives from the province right now. And my understanding is that it's a complete no-brainer in terms of financial benefit for your common areas in the building.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Cassidy, please.
You feel that you have sufficient parking spots for everyone, so we don't have overflow onto the streets?
We've completed a traffic impact study, and as a result of that study is the parking configuration that you see.
Okay, without me doing the math, because I'm mentally lazy, you have essentially, I did it, but it didn't seem you had 2 parking spots per unit.
That's correct. For the rental building, we're providing 155 stalls for 185 units. The parkade is currently 185 parking stalls, but they're not all fully utilized by the existing tenants.
Mhm.
For the new building, we're providing how many? 174 for 126 units.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Watt, please.
Yeah, thank you. So the parking in the existing rental building, if it's not fully utilized, does a tenant pay extra for their spot?
Yes.
So with those additional spots, could they presumably be used to alleviate any overflow? Would there be the possibility that owners in the new building would have access to those?
Well, that's potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much. No further discussion. Gentlemen, thanks very much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. Counselor Snyder.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the opportunities for consultation on the proposed official community plan amendment with persons, organizations, and authorities as outlined in the report dated May 20th, 2026 be endorsed as sufficient consultation for purposes of section 475 of the Local Government Act.
Thank you, Counselor Watt. Thank you. Any discussion? I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary carried. I should just comment. Counselor Thompson's been a little quieter than usual tonight. She has laryngitis. And we're very grateful that she came despite not feeling 100%. Just had to say. Counselor Snyder, please.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the proposed official community plan bylaw number 4985, 2018 amendment bylaw number 5465, 2026 be read for a first time.
Thank you, Counselor Watt. Thank you. Any discussion? Question? All in favor? Contrary, the motion's carried. Counselor Snyder, please.
I'd like to recommend that the proposed zoning bylaw number 4662, 2010 amendment bylaw number 5466, 2026 be read for a first time.
Thank you, Counselor Watt. Question? All in favor? Contrary carried. Counselor Snyder, please.
I'd like to recommend that the proposed official community plan bylaw number 4985, 2018 amendment bylaw number 5465, 2026 and proposed zoning bylaw number 4662, 2010 amendment bylaw number 5466, 2026 be presented at a public hearing scheduled for June 29th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Municipal Hall, Council Chamber and via electronic communication facilities, and that statutory notice be given of the scheduled public hearing.
Thank you, Counselor Watt. Thank you. Any discussion? Question? All in favor? Motion is carried. And the last motion, Counselor Snyder, please.
I would like to recommend that the proposed development permit 26-012 be presented at public meeting scheduled for June 29th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Municipal Hall, Council Chambers and via electronic communication facilities to be held concurrently with the public hearing scheduled for June 29th, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Municipal Hall, Council Chamber and via electronic communication facilities, and the statutory notice be given of the scheduled public meeting.
Thank you, Counselor Watt. Thank you. Question? All in favor? Contrary, the motion's carried. Thanks very much. We'll see you on that on the 29th. Item number 11, proposed bylaw enforcement framework. Our corporate officer is going to make a brief presentation, and you're accompanied tonight by
Supervisor Alicia Raffi.
Ms. Raffi. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. As Mayor Sager said, I'll provide a brief verbal overview of the proposed bylaw enforcement framework, policy, and associated procedure. So these documents are attached to the May 19th, 2026 staff report from the acting manager of bylaw licensing services. Ms. Raffi and I are available to answer any questions following this brief presentation. Together, the proposed policy and procedure establish a clear, consistent framework for how the district receives, assesses, prioritizes, and responds to bylaw complaints. It is intended to support the efficient use of district resources, a fair and administratively sound complaint process, and greater public understanding of how enforcement decisions are made. In practical terms, it gives staff and the public common framework for responding to reported bylaw contraventions. This work is informed by the BC Ombudsperson 2016 report, Bylaw Enforcement Best Practices Guide for Local Governments. Staff have had several meetings with the BC Ombudsperson staff to review the draft documents and incorporated their extensive feedback. The report emphasized the importance of transparency, consistency, and administrative fairness in local government bylaw enforcement. It is also recommended that local governments adopt a public bylaw enforcement policy to clearly communicate goals, expectations, and standards. The proposed policy and procedure also support improved administrative efficiency through standardized practices for intake, triage, documentation, and file management. These improvements strengthen our accountability, procedural fairness, and the defensibility of enforcement-related decisions. It also helps manage public expectations by clarifying the district's role and the factors that influence whether and how a bylaw complaint proceeds. Today's recommendation is that Council approve the proposed bylaw enforcement framework, policy, and associated procedure. And we're available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Oh, did I have my light on?
No, but I'm hoping you might make a motion. There you go.
Okay, recommended that proposed bylaw enforcement framework policy 0234 attached as appendix A to the May 19th, 2026 report from the acting manager, bylaw and licensing services be approved, and two, proposed bylaw enforcement framework procedure 0235 attached as appendix B to the May 19th, 2026 report from the acting mayor, bylaw and licensing services. Acting manager, sorry, just gave you a
She
new
doesn't want
role.
this job.
From the acting manager, bylaw and licensing services be approved.
Thank you. Council Gambioli.
Thank you for this report. It's important. And so we thank you for bringing it up. What I thought was most interesting about this report is that at two different places, we talk about the role of council in enforcement and to maintain administrative fairness and a clear separation between the role of council and staff who administer and enforce bylaws. Council members may occasionally be contacted by individuals involved in bylaw enforcement matters. In such cases, council members should direct the individual to bylaw services for information regarding the applicable process and next steps, and should remain uninvolved in specific enforcement files or decisions unless the matter is formally brought before council for consideration. So that's really good for us to remember, and it's good for the public to know that although people may have complaints or concerns around bylaw matters, we should not get personally involved. So thank you for that reminder.
And that means you'll second the motion.
Sure, I will.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion's carried. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to item number 12, the adoption of the new golf fees and charges. Councillor Watt, please.
Yeah. I would like to recommend that the proposed fees and charges bylaw number 5383, 2025, amendment bylaw number 5456, 2026 be adopted.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please. Thank you. Any discussion? Question? All in favor? Contrary, carried. We now have two items, and under the new provincial legislation, we are prohibited from having a public hearing on these matters. I don't like that, but I think there's a presentation. Ms. McGuire.
Just share the presentation. Sec. Good evening again, Mayor and Council, members of the public. So this proposal is a zoning amendment for 1337 Ottawa Avenue. And as the mayor indicated, as this is an OCP compliant development project, it's prohibited from having a public hearing. So here you can see the site. It's located on it's a single family site located on the north side of Ottawa Avenue in the Ambleside neighborhood. It's zoned RS3, just like the surrounding sites, and it includes an existing single family home. It's a relatively large site, just over 15,000 square feet in size. The zoning amendment is necessary for the proposal. They're proposing to subdivide the site into two lots. You can see a diagram showing that on the top right-hand side of the screen there. So what the zoning amendment would do is it would provide a site-specific exception to allow the subdivision to occur. Because the RS3 zone has a minimum site size of 925 square meters, whereas these two proposed parcels are just over 708 square meters. It is also worth noting, though, that the width of the sites actually exceeds the zoning minimum. So the frontage of the lots, does appear and is sort of generally consistent with other lots in the surrounding area. And this shows a rendering. It's just for illustrative purposes, showing two proposed hypothetical homes to really show just the scale of the homes on the two proposed lots. And surrounding sites in the area do vary quite significantly in size, ranging from approximately 6,000 square feet up to over 25,000 square feet in size. So the two proposed lots are within that range that you see in the surrounding area. And really what this illustration does is it just shows the scale of the homes, and that's generally in keeping with the scale and character of existing homes in the area in staff's opinion. So the project's being brought forward under these official community plan or OCP policies. The first one there, policy 2.1.1, allows consideration of applications to enable development of smaller homes on smaller lots. And then policy 2.1.9 aims to ensure that new single-family dwellings respect neighborhood character. So in staff's opinion, the project does meet these policy directions from the official community plan. The project also responds to the sustainable building policy. So if this project was approved, there would be a covenant that we would require on title that would secure achieving the higher step of the BC Energy Step Code, along with zero carbon step code requirements. The project also responds to the district's public amenity policy, and the applicant is proposing a community amenity contribution of $27,500. And that's based on review that was done by a financial consultant that the district hired, and it comes from that review. So in terms of public engagement, the applicant hosted 2 neighborhood meetings, one some time ago in 2024 before submitting the formal application, and then one more recently in 2025. There's a summary report appended to the staff report for more information on that. But just in terms of responses to the feedback that was received, the applicant did add a couple of improvements to respond to some of the concerns that we received. And so that included adding a pedestrian pathway connecting the western proposed parcel to Ottawa Avenue. And then also there was a concern generally about parking if there were suites included in the new homes. So the applicant proposed a boulevard plan that you can see here on the screen that shows that would include 2 boulevard parking stalls that could be used for suites if those were proposed to be included in the new homes. And so those improvements would also be secured as part of that development covenant if council gives readings to the bylaw. So to conclude, we are recommending that council give first, second, and third readings of the proposed zoning amendment bylaw, as in staff's opinion, the project is supportable and based on the relevant official community plan directions, and generally because it would allow for 2 smaller houses to be built on each lot. So thank you. Happy to answer any questions. In this case, the applicant is available if you have questions of them, but they don't have a presentation.
Thanks very much, Ms. McGuire. So in this process, the neighbors have been notified, people are notified, but they're not even able to speak this evening to this?
That's the requirement that the province made, so that when this occurs, there is still notification that the district is required to send out that public hearing is prohibited, but they can't speak.
Okay. Crazy process. Councillor Cassidy, please.
Yes, Ms. McGuire, may I ask, what is the square footage of each home, please?
Sure. I'm glad I looked at that before this. So approximately, and this actually kind of, I guess, really lends itself to that policy direction through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy. So if a new home was built on the site as it is right now, it would be approximately 4,600 square feet, plus any exemptions like a basement or garage or what have you. But the two proposed lots would, the maximum net floor area that they would be permitted is approximately 2,300 square feet each. So basically half of the floor area that would be permitted on the existing parcel today.
Okay, thank you. Which, by the way, I think is good, because so many people who don't want to live in an apartment are looking for a smaller place. They want to downsize from their house, and they potentially just want another house as opposed to an apartment. The townhouses are scarce in this community, so smaller homes I'm very much in favor of. Now, the parking on the boulevard, the parking spot on the boulevard, does the district not own the boulevard?
Through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, that is correct. These would be public parking stalls.
Yes.
But they would be obviously very in close proximity to these parcels and these homes. So, they could be used by the tenants that lived in suites if the suites were built, but they wouldn't be reserved. for the
Yes, because what I've noticed is tending to encroach on the boulevard with lawn, rocks, et cetera, to make sure that nobody parks on the boulevard in front of that individual's home. So as long as these individuals realize that the boulevard is public property.
Through the mayor to Councillor Cassidy, that's been very clear in the communication with staff and the applicant, and the staff have reviewed the boulevard plan and would ensure that it meets our boulevard bylaw requirements.
Could they not just clear the whole area in front of the house for parking regardless of just one parking spot?
My understanding with the boulevard bylaw is that you're allowed one parking pad per frontage, so that the configuration that you see in that plan is compliant with the boulevard bylaw. Whereas if you were to just propose, a full row of parking, that wouldn't actually meet the boulevard bylaw requirements.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gambioli, please, and maybe I'll encourage a motion as well.
Yes, just looking at the second to last slide, I realized that they're just drawings for our purposes, just to get an idea. But it looks to me that the drawing from above, that there's so much impermeable surface proposed. Can you just remind us, what is the rule about impermeable surface per lot? Because I thought it was something like 35%, and I don't know, it just looks to me there's no way that can be only 35%.
Through the mayor to Councillor Gambioli, the applicant is not proposing any zoning variances for either lot. So the houses, if council was to approve the zoning amendment and the subdivision goes forward and they come back for building permits, they would be required to comply with all aspects of the zoning bylaw, including all of the non-permeable site requirements, which relate to the front yard and then to the overall site. I don't know, I can't remember off the top of my head what the overall site permeable requirements are, but they definitely for the front yard, there's specific requirements. And then for the overall site, there is as well, and they would be required to comply with those.
Yeah, I just do have some concerns about that issue, given how much rain we have these days, and how our systems are overloaded. My neighbor across the street last year just completely took out all their landscaping and put concrete on their entire driveway and their whole front yard, just poured it on there. And, they don't ask for a permit. I mean, if people are doing that kind of thing all the time and we don't keep track of that. And, and they just took it out last week, by the way, because I think they're probably having some drainage issues. But anyway, it's a real concern. It should be a concern for us. And I just hope we're sticking really strictly to our guidelines. And, we may have to change them sometimes because someday, because I don't know, there's just a heck of a lot of impermeable surface around here.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli. And would you like to make a motion? Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Snyder. Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Contrary, the motion is carried. Item 14 on Bruce Street, please. Ms. McGuire.
Share the presentation again. Sorry, Ms. Dallas or Mr. Chuk, I'm struggling with where it is here. I don't see it. It's item 14. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me. No, this is actually the applicant presentation. Oh, thank you. Pardon me. I thought I had it. So close. Oh, sorry, I'm sharing now. Sorry about that. Here we go. So once again, good evening, members of the public, mayor and council. So this is also a development proposal that is prohibited from having a public hearing. The decision for council tonight is to consider giving readings to the zoning amendment bylaw that's necessary for the proposal. So the proposal, you can see an artist rendering of the proposal on screen here. It's a three-story mixed-use development in the Horseshoe Bay neighborhood at 6384 Bruce Street. Here you can see a map showing the site. The site's located on the south side of Bruce Street, directly to the east of the existing motel site in the heart of Horseshoe Bay. The site right now has an existing home located on it and a driveway accessed on Bruce Street. This slide shows a site plan showing the ground level of the development proposal. So as I said, it's proposed to be a three-story mixed-use building, and on the ground level is it's proposed to be a 16-space child daycare. And then on the upper levels are 4 stacked townhouse units that provide access at the ground level to the townhouse units. The applicant does have a presentation, and it is the architect speaking, so I won't go into the design very much because they'll have a presentation after this. But also in addition to the building, there's new frontage works proposed for Bruce Street, including sidewalk and street trees. And you can see on the diagram here that there's a rear surface parking proposed that's accessed from the lane that would provide 4 residential stalls for the townhouse residents, and then 4 tandem parking stalls for the daycare staff. For the pickup and drop off that is necessary for the childcare facility, it's proposed to be handled on Bruce Street on the street parking. And the applicant has worked with staff, including engineering staff, and engineering staff would be intending, if the project proceeds and is approved, to install signage that would reserve those street parking for pickup and drop off during the morning and afternoon times. And then for the balance of the day, those street parking stalls would be available for public parking. And also, as part of the project, there is a community amenity contribution that the applicant is offering, and that is just over $71,000. So the project's being brought forward under the Horseshoe Bay local area plan. That's part of the official community plan under the policy direction that you can see here on the screen. That's specific for this site and other sites in the immediate area, which anticipates townhouse development for these sites, and that up to a density of 1.2 and a height of up to 3 stories. Just note, one thing to note, as I said, there is a childcare on the ground floor. And so that use is permitted throughout all of our residential zones everywhere in the district. And it's also broadly supported by specific official community plan policy. So although it's a mixed use development, that would be entirely consistent with the local area plan. And the project is consistent with the direction from the local area plan. In terms of public engagement, the applicant hosted 2 meetings, one some time ago in 2023. And then in response to feedback at that early meeting, the applicant did do changes to respond to concerns and comments received. Then more recently in April, another meeting was held. Really, most of the comments at the more recent meeting were in support of the project, and the only concerns that have really centered around the operation of the childcare facility with respect to pickup and drop off, and then other parking and traffic concerns, because Horseshoe Bay parking is really at a premium in that area and is definitely lots of street use of parking. So that was a concern. And just a note in terms of that concern, the current proposal before council today, that has really been the key aspect that staff and the applicant team have worked on to try and work out the pickup and drop off area on Bruce and to maximize the amount of parking that could be provided from the rear lane. And then I think that's, oops, I've done something crazy with the slides. I'm so sorry. And then to conclude, we are recommending that council give first, second, and third readings to the proposed zoning bylaw. In staff's assessment, the project is entirely consistent with the Horseshoe Bay local area plan directions. It would provide diverse housing in terms of the 4 townhouse units, would deliver a 16-space childcare to support the local community. And generally the site has good access to the ferry terminal, public parks, and transit in the neighborhood. So thank you. And as I said, the applicant also has a presentation as well, but happy to answer any questions.
Thanks very much. Great presentation. Is the applicant present this evening? And feel free to join us, gentlemen.
I thought I would just get that ready.
Just ask you to identify yourselves.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Tim Ankerman, Ankerman Marchand Architects.
Oh.
My partner Francois Marchand, Ankerman Marchand Architects.
Mr. Ankerman, good to see you. It's been a while.
It's been a long while.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Like 30 years.
Pretty much, yeah, that was the old one down in Marine for NAPCO. So. But we've had lots of other projects in front of us. We just haven't managed to get them through. And this one's taken 10 years. But no fault of council. It just took a while to for us to conform to the OCP to make this hopefully easy for you. The only thing I disagree with Ms. Barr's presentation was that I believe it was very thorough. So it's we're kind of the last one on the agenda today. So I don't think that I want to spend a lot of time with all my slides. Can I just press enter here? What do I do here?
So is the owner actually going,
Thank you.
Mr. Ankerman, is the owner actually going to build in this market?
They are,
Yes.
and I think one of the most important things to talk about is who the owner is. The family has been local residents of West Van for over 30 years. His wife has actually run a daycare in West Van for over 20 years. And so they bought the site more than 10 years ago, and they've been sort of trying to envision what they can do with it. And in my opinion, this is a completely community-based project. It's much needed rental housing with a range from, we started up with larger units and so on, but we got community feedback where they wanted at least one bedroom. So it's only 4 units. It's not going to do a whole lot with us. These.
I'm not sure to do that. Do you know? We don't know how to change the site survey.
Have they got a potential operator for or are they going to operate the?
They're going to operate. Again, she's been 20 years operating another daycare in West Van, and I just kind of want to expand her operation. How do you do that?
Lost it again.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's right. As far as our experience, we've done lots of daycares and townhouses and so on. I heard earlier that there's not enough townhouses in West Van, particularly not enough rental. So again, this is a completely community-based project. I guess the only thing I don't understand is why our client, who's already sort of struggling with holding this property for 10 years, why their RCAC is involved. But if that's something that council could consider, it would certainly help with the economics. As you correctly mentioned, Your Worship, it is a tough market, and construction costs really haven't come down to reality where they need to be. I'm not going to go through the timeline or the open houses. Keep going because we did that.
I think we could, with respect, just ask if there are any questions from members of council.
Sure.
Having dealt with you 30 years ago, it doesn't surprise me you've come up with a good solution for this property.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Any questions? I'm going to ask for a motion. Councillor Watt?
Questions, but
question.
I have comments.
Yes, comments, please.
Thank you. I'm actually really excited. I live very close, a couple of blocks away, and I'm quite excited to see this coming in. I don't know, I can't recall what feedback you had concerning traffic and pick up and drop off, but on my street, a couple of blocks away, we ended up with a small home-based daycare. And at first I was thinking, oh, great, here we go. But what I found observing this place for probably the last 2 years, a lot of the parents, they'll ride their child on their bicycle. There's so many families, there's a lot of people walking and dropping off, and there's so many children in Horseshoe Bay. I think we'll be quite surprised to see how little impact, or how it's a lesser impact than what people would expect. So I just wanted to say I am very happy to help push this project forward.
Thank you.
Yes, my niece walks her lovely
Yeah.
daughter to that daycare. I know. the
Yeah,
one
I
you're
see
speaking of, and
people all the time.
People are going to walk to this.
They walk. There's
bike.
a lot of locals there with young kids.
Yeah.
So I'd like to recommend that proposed zoning bylaw number 4662, 2010, amendment bylaw number 5455, 2026 be read a first, second, and third time.
Thank you, Councillor Gambioli.
Yes, I will second that. And I will also say that I hear what you're saying about the CACs, and I would personally, I would agree to consider a delay in the CACs at
Thank you.
least.
Anything
So-
would be helpful.
We need to take that back to staff and before final reading.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Gentlemen, thanks very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
For your good work. I'm going to move to item 16, the consent agenda. Councillor Snyder, please.
Sorry. Yes. I would like to recommend the consent agenda items be approved as written.
Thank you, Councillor Cassidy. Thank you. Call a question. All in favor? Contrary carried. Thanks very much. And now we'll go to reports. And I would like to begin by thanking all of the people, the volunteers and our staff who pulled off another amazing community cultural festival over the weekend. Well attended and lots of people having a lot of fun. So thanks to all of those good people. And we opened a 25-year time capsule with our friend, the former Mayor Ron Wood and Bill Soprovich. And we had the presentation from some wonderful students from past and present. A great event. Also like to thank and congratulate all of the people. Last Monday, we handed out our community awards for outstanding citizens in our community. I see some of them present here tonight. And I'd like to again congratulate all of the recipients. And one final further fun little note on Tuesday last week, I attended on behalf of the community to the Italian Cultural Center for their 80th anniversary. And I'll be honest, it was the first time I have ever been to the Italian Cultural Center, hard to believe. And it was packed. And boy, do they know how to have fun. It was an unbelievably great
And
event.
you got to put your Duolingo to use.
I was invited last, they had a couple of other mayors who were invited to speak, and then the consulate looked at me and he went, "Oh, do you want to say something?" He had forgotten to, and I'm glad. Anyway, it did give me a chance to use my Italian. And it was very fun.
Restaurant at the Italian Cultural Center, absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, well, I didn't get a chance to do that. But Councillor Watt, over to you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to reflect back on a meeting, a town hall that Mayor Sager and I and other members of council were invited to. It was back in December. And it was hosted by Karen Harrison, who is a long-standing community volunteer, decades of service and with the Rotary Club. And Karen has pulled together a board and with a lot of support from Mayor Sager, moral support. They are opening the inaugural Horseshoe Bay Market this coming weekend, and it's going to be every Saturday morning, 9 to 1, and there will be food, music, artisans, and it is going to be by the sanctuary next to the boathouse on that strip of land there. So hope to see a lot of people out there for that.
I agree, and I hope it's a huge success. And
Oh, I
only
think it
sad
will
that I'm
be.
away this weekend and I can't be there. Councillor Cassidy.
And so I just wanted to mention that a week ago, Sunday, there was a very successful Alzheimer's walk, and which they had the after party in John Lawson Park, and they seemed to be having an excellent time. So it was a great success, and I believe that they raised $2,700. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Watt.
Yeah. One other thing, as FIFA is upon us, I just wanted to report that Invest Vancouver is going to be utilizing the influx of foreign visitors to introduce business leaders to the greater area, to Metro, and they're organizing tours, panels, and meetings highlighting the benefits to various industry leaders as to setting up operations in Vancouver. So there'll be series of meetings going across the region.
Thanks very much. Could I ask for a motion to receive the reports from Mayor and Council? Move seconded, all in favor, contrary carried. Are there any public questions or comments this evening?
Pardon me, we have one name on the speakers list, Ian Rose Innes.
Hello. Oh, yes, sir. Would you like to join us, please? And I'm sorry, it's Ian Rosiness, is it? Rosie, thank you. Oh, right. Cycling Without Age.
Yes.
Yes, I remember our time together.
Indeed.
Oh, good. You're going to invite us to come ride again.
Anytime you like.
Oh, I love it.
Your worship, councillors and staff members. My name is Ian Rose Innes. I'm the founder and chairman of Cycling Without Age North Shore. Cycling Without Age started in 2012 in Copenhagen, Denmark. It's now in 42 countries with 3,500 plus chapters, with 22 chapters in BC. Now our chapter services the whole of the North Shore. We take mobility challenged people for free rides, I repeat, free rides on trails from 4 bases using 4 two-seater and 2 wheelchair carrying trishaws. We serve 21 care organizations. In 2024, we offered 624 rides, and in 2025, 1,071 rides. Our core service is rides at the door of 18 care organizations each week during the dry season. We ride waterfront, urban and forest trails and quiet streets. We thank very much the District of West Vancouver for allowing us to ride on the Centennial Sea Walk. This allows us to take residents from around the West Vancouver Community Centre down Bellevue Avenue West, which has a flatter grade, to the Spirit Trail and Ambleside Park. Our special events offer the public busloads of public and busloads of residents from care homes to take rides on forest trails at the Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve and Bridgeman and Ambleside Park. In 2025, we hosted 12 groups and transported some groups from not-for-profit care homes using the bus from the West Vancouver Senior Centre, which was offered to us free of charge. Many thanks to the District of West Vancouver for the free use of the bus. Please refer to the handouts that I've just passed around for the special events that we're running in 2026. We plan public and group rides for 6 days in the Lower Seymour Conservation Reserve and 8 days from Ambleside and Bridgeman Park. The District of West Vancouver has offered the use of their bus for all these days to allow groups of non-profit residents to join us. We are most grateful for the free use of this bus. We also wish to thank the district for a donation of $2,500 towards the cost of employing a student to undertake the detailed organization of these special events. Our core team is overloaded and we are seeking sponsors to help us secure our core services going forward. We thank the district most sincerely for their ongoing support and acknowledge it on all our newsletters and handouts. Any questions?
Sir, I would just, you've been very generous with your thanks, but really the thanks goes from all of us on council to you and the other people that work with you to pull this off. It's really, really wonderful. Councillor Thompson and I had the opportunity to experience it firsthand, and I can just imagine how wonderful this is for seniors who don't get out very much. And the generosity of your time and your efforts is really commendable. So thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Yes, I saw some people about to clap, and you know what? I think we should. Thank you, sir. Perfect. Fashion all the way. If there's no further questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Moved, seconded, all in favor, contrary, carried.